Hello and welcome back to episode 3 of the Three Hamster Boys podcast. I, of course, am Alexander Kresek. To my right is Nick Kresek, my brother, and to my left is Jeff Kresek, my father. Yes, we are all Kreseks.
And we're going to try again to record this podcast.
Three Hamsters, episode 3. 3's the magic number.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hoping.
That's what Schoolhouse Rock said.
Yeah.
It's a magic number.
It's true.
Exactly. Yes, it is.
And so that's what De La Soul said also.
Yeah. Well, actually, Schoolhouse Rock is a good kind of jumping point here. Speaking of things that teach you lessons, before episode 1, we did heroes. Episode 2, we did villains. So we thought it was kind of appropriate to round out the hero's journey, as it were, that we're undertaking to talk about mentors that we love in media. So that can be film, books, comics, anime, really anything, manga, whatever, webtoons even.
Whatever. Any media.
Any
form of storytelling that catches your heart.
Yeah, your heart, your eyes. So Nick, what do we got going on here? First, I see some half-filled glasses in front of us.
Of course, we have alcohol before us. This week, we are drinking gin from a local distillery called Vitae. I believe that's what it's called.
Oh, fancy.
We actually got to talk with some of the members of the people who run the distillery at a food show that we went to.
Yeah.
And we tried a variety of their spirits.
Their offerings.
And they advertise a very modern gin. So I'm excited. We're not drinking gin purely. It's not usually recommended. So we're drinking a gin and tonic, which I feel like is like the classic way to experience gin. Yeah, I'm curious. I haven't tried any of these cocktails.
Ooh.
Unlike the last time where I had to formulate.
Well, not only that, but I think none of us are really big gin drinkers. So
No,
it's
I don't
really
think so.
an exotic. Or you do.
My go-to cocktail is a gin drink,
right, yeah.
but other than that, no, I don't drink gin.
Yeah.
All
right, let's go. I feel like this is a treat. Normally, I think both of you tried the drink before I do,
Yeah.
so now we all get to try it together. That is a gin drink.
It is a gin drink. Yeah, it's very potent. You can feel it in the throat, but I definitely think that the tonic water cuts it pretty well.
Yeah.
I think the minerality of the tonic water really kind of enhances the flavor without really, while still toning down the alcohol taste to it.
Yeah. This will be a very boozy episode. Just
Because the other ones weren't boozy.
Whilst crafting these cocktails, I put a lot of alcohol, but that's for the future. Otherwise, I think
That's for us to worry about.
It's very sippable. It's not something that I can go chug down.
Right.
But let's back to the theme.
Yeah, let's talk about mentors. I think before, in the last couple episodes, we really laid some ground rules for what we considered a hero or what we considered a villain. And already talking with you two, I think mentor is a very loose kind of concept here. Dad, what is your kind of definition of a mentor?
Well, so I think for me, a mentor is someone that helps the hero or protagonist on their journey. So it doesn't always mean someone, and you'll see that two of my choices are not really teachers. They're people that help with the journey and really aren't teachers, but they make the hero or protagonist continue their journey when they think that they can't. And so I think that for me, a mentor is more of that person who's sitting beside you and helping you go the whole trip.
I like that. I will say, I think two of mine are protagonists, which I consider mentors. So it'll be interesting.
All
But
right.
all right, let's go ahead and hear your first
Kick it off.
your first mentor.
Okay, so my first mentor is very unconventional. It's Mushu the dragon.
Ooh.
From Milan?
From Milan the cartoon. So once again, a lot of people go, "What are they a sidekick?" But I think that the dragon kind of the way he interacts with the ancient family, the family of the past, and how he says, "Look, she's the chosen one. She can do this journey," and he's always sitting there beside her. Now, she probably gets very little guidance from him.
Yeah.
But I think that he also, but he still says, "You can do this, or you can do that," or I think his interaction with the family, the traditional family, and her being this very non-traditional role, is critical for her success.
Like the spirits and the ancestors.
The spirits. The ancestors are. It's a girl. She can't do this. The generals. Oh, it's a girl. She can't do this. Right. And the whole time he's there next to her with that journey.
So in this case, the mentor isn't necessarily like teaching a lesson. He's more of like the hype man in your corner.
Yeah, exactly. and the character by Eddie Murphy is more of a hype man.
I definitely agree it's unconventional. I didn't think of Mushu at all. But I kind of agree with you. It is that like it's that like silent guide, or like that it's not someone that will tell you the right way.
Yeah.
It's just someone that like reassures you that your way is correct.
Yeah.
And I think that is very empowering for like the character.
Well, I think that in real life, the journey you take is almost never going to be, we'll take this path. It's always people around you that are, just helping you say, look, you can make the right decisions and whatever. So I think that for me, it's always been most important that there's someone saying, there's no wrong decision. It's a decision you're making. Then you live with it. You do the consequences of it, and you just keep going.
Yeah.
And so
I like that.
Yeah.
Very fun, unconventional
like that.
choice,
I like
but
that.
I like it.
I'm a
It's a
fan.
good way to kick us off. All right, Nick, what do we got?
I think I'm doing the exact opposite.
Okay.
I think my first one is a little on the nose.
Okay.
As a mentor and or teacher,
Okay.
I'm doing a character from Assassination Classroom, aka Koro Sensei,
Yeah.
which is a yellow tentacled man who can travel at Mach 25 and has like blown up like half the moon.
Yeah.
And has set the government to exterminate him. Mm-hmm. He has told the government, "You need to kill me." And the government responded by trying to, and then giving him a classroom of students that are all tasked with killing him.
wow.
Oh yeah, you haven't seen this
I have not
yet.
seen this.
No.
Once again, animes to me are the most unique form of media because there is no limit to what they can do. Every time that you guys show me an anime, I'm always like, what a creative way of looking at this. Yeah. And you're not constrained by the physical ability of the actors or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's a cartoon, you can do pretty much anything you want.
It's part of the reason why I really don't like seeing anime go to live action,
So
because it
true.
just doesn't work.
But yeah, Koro Sensei, he is kind of a jerk in the beginning from like your perspective. He's like very arrogant. And he on purpose, he's seen as like unkillable, right? It's like,
Well, he did take half the moon away.
yeah. He's a genuine threat.
But like, he also like thwarts any sort of assassination attempt to kill him. Like he just like dodges bullets or like disarms anyone who runs up on him. Like
But his later intentions, you see it clearer that he wants to teach. He wants to pass on knowledge. He wants to really. The classroom that he's given is basically seen as like this failure. They are from a school that's like super like pretentious, so pretentious that they need to have this like lower class that's like far away from the campus, run down, zero funding. They have bad teachers. They're always seen as the bad kids. They're like the example never to be.
Oh.
So Kuro Sensei like takes these kids who are like seen as like basically dead end, worthless. There is no like path for them. And he sees all of their strengths and weaknesses. And with this like mock speed, he teaches all of them individually during class.
Oh, okay, because he can go so fast.
This is something that you can't really do in live action, but like in anime, it's like the after images of
Right.
him like running around the classroom so quickly. He's like at every student's desk, but it's also kind of like an after image because
Yeah.
he's just running around.
And the whole show, he's just a very like supportive and guidance teacher. He's like so responsible, and no matter what the students go through or troubles, he's always there to be like a very like strong anchor for them. He's like so reliable, even though he knows that they're trying to kill him. So good. But yeah, I really love him. I think he's such a great character. And
It's such an ironic mentor also. It's a very different kind of position
Yeah.
to be in.
yeah, there's like so many different dynamics that happen, which I think is great. And I think he lives up to this sort of role that he is given and wants.
All right.
All right, what you
it.
got? What you got?
I like it. For my first mentor, I'm also gonna go with a teacher. I think I went in a little bit of a different route, but still, I would kind of think a mentor here. But Professor Keating from Dead Poet Society.
Oh, I thought about that.
Yeah.
Yes. It's such a unique and different role for Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whew, that movie messed me up.
Yeah. I mean, it's no doubt it's a sad movie.
I was sobbing on the plane. But yeah, I think in this movie, Robin Williams is playing this kind of weird, wacky, kind of out there professor at this very strict boys' school, and is kind of teaching these kids how to think for themselves, act for themselves. The big message in the movie is carpe diem, seize the day, really take advantage of the life that you have. And that hit me really hard.
Just like Jack Black in School of Rock, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same message. It's the same message.
Same message. But I love it from the unorthodox teaching method of like getting the students to stand up on the desks and shout out these lines, these verse of poetry, or like literally eating the first couple of pages of their textbook. Just this weird unorthodox way to get these kids from being like, we have to follow everything by the book, to like, let's be weird, let's be out there, let's think about how we can observe the world in a different manner. And I think obviously Robin Williams' performance like brings so much.
I know a lot of people look at him as a comedic actor, but there's so many roles that are so powerful when he's not a comedic actor. Yeah. And so I think that's part of the strength in the movie was him playing that part, because he hit it right on the head with the right amount of goofiness, the right amount of sense of empathy for the kids.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is he throughout the movie, it's like, I know the struggles you're going through. Mm-hmm. He's really empathetic for what they're going through. So
yeah, because he was a student there,
yeah.
Right? And I think additionally to Carpe Diem, it's like seeing art for more than just an analytical sense,
Right.
Which I think resonated with me a tad bit more.
Yeah.
But like I think the message is still there, but it's seeing all of it, like his students like embrace art for just expression and feeling instead of like, oh, this is the correct way.
Right.
For poetry to be good, right? Like there's a mathematical formula for a good poem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is why I did not do good in English at any of my levels.
I didn't do too good.
Because every time that I read something, I saw something very different than what my English teacher wanted me to see.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's why it struck with me, is because for all of the classes you take in high school, especially the academic ones, there's a way that they want you to think about literature, how it's written and how it's, and there's a movie called Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield in it. It's a comedy, and his English teacher says, "I know you didn't write this paper because there's no way that you understand what Kurt Vonnegut was saying." The very next scene is this guy who's rich, Rodney Dangerfield, turns and says, "Okay, Kurt Vonnegut, I'm not paying you your money. You didn't write the right storyline." So I mean, I think it's one of those things where there's the idea of expression is just important.
Yeah.
Personal expression.
Yeah, and then like artist interpretation and viewer interpretation. I think art, as we just saw,
Yeah.
you said carpe diem, like the seize the day really resonated with you the most for that.
Yeah.
But then the freedom of expression
Freedom of expression, yeah.
resonated with me more. That's already just the same exact thing what we're talking about.
Exactly.
I really like that one. That's a really good one.
I do like that one too. All right,
All right, first break.
first break.
We'll be right back.
Switch out the drinks.
Nice, you guys are getting good at that. All right.
We return.
On to drink number 2. Nick, what do we have in front of us?
So we have a French gimlet.
Oh, you know the French.
Do we have to raise our pinky when we drink
I
it?
thought that's English.
Yeah, isn't that British for tea?
We're not drinking tea.
But it's gin, so it's English.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. In the spirit of it. I looked up many, many recipes for a gimlet. This one is very, very simple. It is just gin, elderflower liqueur, and lime juice.
Okay.
It should be refreshing, but we'll see.
Should be refreshing. Should have taste like alcohol.
Yeah. Once again, have not tried this, so
Yeah,
I'm excited. Going in
Let's go.
blind.
Yeah. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I taste the gin first, and then I think everything else kind of hits me later. The elderberry really
Elderflower.
Elderflower really hits later.
Yeah, I mean, I can taste the floral notes on my tongue after everything fades away.
Yeah.
The lime is more just a sensation.
Yeah.
You know?
It's still hitting the back of my throat.
So
This is good. I like this.
I do like it too, but it's kind of like a martini where it's like 2 shots of booze with another half shot of booze.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is just boozy.
A martini was in the potential for a cocktail. I
Yeah.
just felt that it wasn't flashy enough.
Well, we were joking about it, is that the first one was clear, now this one is less than clear.
Yeah, and it's not really going to change for the last one.
Yeah, I don't think so. All right, Nick. We have gone through our first round of mentors. A lot of great choices, honestly, and I
Yeah.
think a good diversity here. So, what do you have for number 2?
So number 2, I'm going with a very classic. This was like my instinctual.
Okay.
Like boom, this is the mentor that I saw growing up and like could resonate with a lot.
Okay.
Just because you see him so much and he's like such a great mentor. It is Master Splinter from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And Splinter has been done a huge variety of ways,
yeah.
but like pretty consistently, he's one of those teachers that feel so like otherworldly wise.
Mm-hmm.
He's like one of those characters where you're like, oh, he's right again. Oh,
Yeah.
the turtle's messed up. Oh, he's there to fix it, to solve like any issues and to remedy any of the like conflict or
So in my mind, he's a fatherly kind of mentor.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of what I would think of as a traditional mentor role, as a fatherly figure that's leading them, especially when it's for young kids that are growing. I mean, the whole concept is that they're teenagers, and so they just want to do their own thing. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think as the parental figure for these, like they're not his children, right? And
Right.
but he raised them as his own, even though he's a rat now and they're weird turtle guys. I think it's such an interesting dynamic, and he really serves a lot of the narratives just as like a really like consistently wise and like powerful, because like whenever you see Shredder like actually, or sorry, not Shredder,
No, he's
definitely not Shredder, Splinter, like go out or do stuff, he's like always like so in control of everything.
Yeah.
And then like we go into him assigning the weapons to
I
the
knew you were gonna
turtles.
talk about
Sorry,
this.
I love the weapon theory of Ninja Turtles, just because I think he put so much thought into it. Quickly, briefly.
Yeah. Talk about the weapon theory because I love hearing you talk about this.
So the weapon theory, the turtles are given weapons opposite to their personalities.
Right.
So to begin with, the leader, Leonardo, right? He is very compassionate. He is seen as the leader. He's given the role as the leader, right? He is compassionate. He's kind. He usually tries to speak before anything else. He's usually the most reserved, also in the fact of like taking action. So he's given blades, basically the one thing that can kill the easiest.
Right.
So he has to be the most mindful of how he operates these weapons. Following that is our hothead, Raphael, who is very rash, prone to aggression, usually actions before words, and act now, think later, sort of thing. And he's given the sais, which are defensive weapons. They're meant for catching weapons, catching blades. They're meant for holding people down. They're not meant for any actual brutal attacks.
Right.
So he's taught to learn that. We have Michelangelo, which you'd think, oh, nunchucks, he's crazy. Nunchucks are crazy. But it's the regard that his mind is always going somewhere else, and you have to be you have to be so precise with nunchucks, or else you'll hurt yourself.
Yeah.
So these weapons sort of force him to focus on a single thing, and really give him direction. And then finally, Donatello. Donatello is he's the thinker. He's the innovator. He is the mastermind. He creates all the gadgets. He usually like creates all the plans. Leonardo comes to him for all of the, ideas. He like goes to him. He's the thinker, and he's given a stick.
He's got all these gadgets, and what does he use? A stick.
He has a stick. I think that's so fun. I love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's my childhood. Watching the 80s/90s animated series, and then all the cool like movies that came out. Maybe not the live action one,
I
but
thought you were gonna say the live action. Vanilla Ice was in it. Though.
well, honestly, I like
The first one was
the 1 and 2 were good. I wasn't that big a fan of the Back in Time one.
That's fair.
And then the New Age TMNT, not good.
Yeah.
The live action one. I don't know about any of the other series, but
I haven't even seen the newer ones.
but yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, grew up on them. They're great.
True. The theme song was playing in my head the entire time we were talking.
Exactly. Heroes in the Half Shell.
Yeah, Turtle Power. I'll go next here. I like that. I think that's a really fun one. I think because we haven't mentioned it yet, we've mentioned like teachers, father figures, and kind of sidekicks. I think characters that we haven't really mentioned as mentors are coaches. So I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring here. And I'm going to say that my number 2 pick for mentor is Ted Lasso from the hit series Ted Lasso.
Okay.
That's a very weird choice.
Yes, you're correct.
That is.
I don't know if either of you have seen Ted Lasso.
Nope.
I've seen pieces of it.
I feel like you've seen clips.
I've
Yeah.
seen clips of it.
Basically, the short form of the story is this guy from Kentucky who is coaching D2 football has been hired to be a Premier League football, like a soccer coach. Football, yeah. Soccer coach in England for Richmond AFC. And goes over, has no idea how to play soccer. And it's basically about him coaching. But I think the thing about this character is he is like he's like a warm cup of milk is like this character. Like he's so goofy, he's so compassionate, he's like, I don't know, he's like the Midwest dad basically. Yeah, he's such a great character where he is imparting lessons on his on his players, even if they don't really know, or that he doesn't know how to play the game. Like, for instance, one of his defensive players is getting upset, and he pulls him aside and he goes, "Hey, do you know what the happiest animal in the world is?" And his player's like, "No, what?" And Ted's like, "It's a goldfish." Why is it a goldfish? Because a goldfish has a 10-second memory. Happens, and then he forgets about it. And it's like those little snippets that make him such a fun and interesting character. And
Besides the whole fish out of water thing, which
yeah, and he's
know.
like, he's totally out of his element, but he's so nice and he's so like friendly to people that people can't help but like him and like talk to him and want to eventually root for him. There's an episode where a journalist is following him around all day to like dig up dirt and say bad things about him because, you know, the club is not doing well because, I mean, this guy doesn't know anything about soccer, and ends up writing an article about it. And at the end he goes, he's gonna fail, but I can't help but root for him at the end of the day.
That's a really cool choice.
That's a sort of a character that like the audience also like goes along with and is inspired by them, where
Yeah.
like it reaches out, like not more than just like the media itself, but like this character alone
Yeah.
really captures the audience along with the other characters.
I think the show does a great job too of approaching masculinity in a way of like being vulnerable and like showing emotions as well. Ted Lasso is like a great example of that in being like a vulnerable person at times and willing to talk about his feelings, and unwilling at some points too, and kind of addressing those situations, as well as talking about like Ted having anxiety attacks and things like that. So overall, I think it's a very fun show, very silly, but also Ted being this main character, being a mentor for all. Yeah, you're like going with him and you're like, yeah, I'm also learning from this character as I'm going.
Yeah. All right. Time for my number
round-
two.
Yeah. So what
rounds
is
up.
your two?
My number two is, once again, it's an odd choice. I'm going to leave my main mentor as number one, but my number two is Alfred from Batman.
Ooh.
And once again, I think he's teaching Bruce Wayne humanity. And I think that's what he's mentoring in him, because Bruce Wayne in everything but like the movies part of it is always going to a dark place. He's always in this very dark place, and Alfred is always there going, you know, there's so many different characters that have played it, but it's like they always have. And I think, you know, Alfred, when are you going to ever give up on me? Never. I'm never going to give up on you. And that was the Dark Knight version of it. But in each one of these roles, he's been there. And, you know, in the old 60s quirky one, the techno wizard was Alfred, because he ran all the machinery in the Batcave.
Yeah.
You know? And in different cartoons, he's had different levels of expertise or abilities, where he's been able to interact with bad guys or save Batman or whatever. And I think it's just, it's a role where, not like Robin, where he's front and center on everything. He's always in the background, but he's always making sure that there's humanity in what Bruce Wayne is and does, you know, so that he doesn't go down a dark place. Because there's a lot of times when you see Batman, he's on the edge of being a bad guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think the only thing that prevents him from taking that extra step, even though he does take the extra step a couple times, is Alfred bringing him back. You know, and it's weird because it's in this posh environment of being rich, but Alfred never uses that as a tool for making sure he knows what humanity is. And so I think that's the other part of mentoring, is that you joke about some of these animes where the main character has unlimited power. And one of the things that they always think about One Punch and things like that, where, you know, where these characters have unlimited power, but they need that humanity piece in order to progress in their journey. And that's what Alfred does for Batman.
I agree. I think Batman similarly takes the role of like a parent a lot of times, especially in the beginning. But yeah, I think a lot of times Alfred is there to, I think humanity is definitely the right word for it, to be like, hey, it's okay to lose, to fall, to get hurt.
Yeah.
And like he also is like, you don't have to do it alone. And I think he really is this character that gives Bruce Wayne the ability to look weak, but in a good way, like in a positive way, right? Like I think if it was just Bruce, he would be dead.
Yeah,
He would be dead. He would be dead.
Because nothing would stop him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would just keep going and keep going and keep going without thinking about how he's interacting with all those people. Because I agree. I mean, one of the things I was looking at, like you said, is the protagonist as a mentor. If you look at Batman, he's really mentoring Robin also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or whichever version of Robin.
Whatever
there is.
Robin
It's still
it is,
Robin.
yeah.
Starts off as Robin.
Or even Batgirl or Catwoman. There's mentoring in all of that pieces.
Man, I'd argue Catwoman's kind of
Mentoring
mentoring
him.
him.
Yeah.
Well, that's a different thing. But, I think that in order for him to do that, he has to have the humanity part of it.
Yeah.
And so that's the only reason why I picked it.
I like to think that Bruce tries to emulate Alfred when he's talking to any of the Robins,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is probably accurate. Because he's not emulating like Raj Al Ghul or anything.
Yeah.
Like he has to have that from like a certain place.
Yeah.
Alfred's very good. I like that.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
Once again, it's a different choice.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now to break number 2 and drink number 3 after this.
We'll be right back.
All right, and here we are for our third and final drink, and of course our third and final mentor. I don't know about you all, but I have not been going in any order for any of these lists. It's just been whatever kind of hits my mind here. I feel like you kind of have an order in mind when you're going down.
I do. I mean, I think that I have who I think is my best mentor in my mind, and I make that number 1.
Yeah.
And then I try to count down from there, and because I don't think so. Mushu is probably not the strongest mentor that you could say,
Yeah.
but it's a person that I thought was a mentor type that I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Number 2 is, I think it's a mentor, but it's really a different kind of mentor. And my number 1 choice is going to be what I think is a traditional mentor role.
I think 3 is like the oddball
Yeah.
for mine, and then like 1 and 2 are like interchangeable.
Yeah.
Is how I feel.
I feel like whatever is on my mind. Nick, what are we drinking?
So to round us out on the cocktails, this is my go-to cocktail if I don't know what to get, or any of the cocktails at a bar are underwhelming for the house specials. This is my go-to. This is my comfort drink, which is a Tom Collins, which is basically it's a gin sour.
Okay.
It's very refreshing, and it's just like easy to drink. Easier than the other 2.
He said, I hope.
The other 2 are pretty easy.
Yeah. All right. Cheers. Yeah, you're right.
Yep. It's easy to drink.
It's easy to drink.
Yeah, it's a very refreshing drink, and it's not overpowering of the gin, but it's like very there, and it's still refreshing.
I'm never been a real gin fan.
Yeah.
The pine needle taste is not something that, I don't like chewing on an air freshener.
Okay.
But I feel like this, out of all of the drinks, has the least.
It does. It
gin
does have
flavor.
the least, but I think that in general, I'm very. A gin drink would probably be the lowest on my choice. Now, once again, I'm a Scotch whiskey guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a very different flavor profile.
Yeah.
Where, for me, if Scotch and whiskey's up here, then you're going rum next, and then you're going probably vodka next, and then gin
You're
after
like,
that.
gin's near the
Vodka's
bottom.
next?
Well, I would say probably tequila's in between rum and
And vodka.
because it's like it's got some of that sweetness of it could be in a barrel if it's mezcal, and you also have kind of the burning of vodka, and gin is a derivative of vodka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where I kind of maybe vodka's below gin because it has less flavor or no flavor.
But I feel like that's what makes it versatile.
Yeah.
In other drinks.
No, I mean, yeah, I think
Vodka is basically the tofu of alcohol.
yeah, exactly.
I like
Really revolting
It's
tofu.
actually it's more of the soybean because everything else is made from it.
right.
You know, or that or corn mash. It's kind of crazy how much corn mash is used in things, where it's just the pure corn alcohol that's the basis of it. So basically, vodka's a potato alcohol base. Then you have corn mash, and then you can also have some other ones. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of corn mash of mentors here, I think my number one mentor is really kind of, I think, one of those mentors that if you grew up in our time, really have seen a lot of.
Slightly older, slightly younger as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I feel like late '90s, early 2000s. If you ever watched, and I'm gonna say it, I'm turning into like the Avatar: The Last Airbender guy because I did Azula last week for villains, but I'm gonna do it again, and you can't stop me. Because Avatar: The Last Airbender has one of the best mentors of all time, and that of course is Uncle Iroh. If you thought that he would escape this list, you were wrong.
Zero chance.
Yeah,
We were competing.
One of us was gonna mention it.
Yeah.
I'm just the one today who gets to talk about Uncle Iroh.
You're the herald of Uncle Iroh.
Yeah, exactly. A phenomenal character. Really, not only does he have his own redemption arc from being like a Fire Lord lackey into like the grandfather figure that we all wanted to have, become such a parent and a father figure for Zuko, is so kind to literally every person he talks with, offering advice or tea or both to characters like Toph when she's feeling a bit lost and out of their way. I feel like any character that kind of like strays or doesn't really know what they're doing or what they should be doing end up finding Uncle Iroh at some point and hearing his wisdom and end up coming back into with greater knowledge.
plus, he's a boss.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah.
He's a beast.
You know,
Plus he's awesome.
yeah, I mean that's the other thing is that not only is he this really fatherly figure, he's a boss in the thing. You know, when he's in that jail and he's like
Oh my god.
beefing up,
Yeah.
you know. Sorry, if you haven't seen it, it really is. Regardless of the live action ones, the cartoon is really great to watch.
He's the dragon of pick a cardinal direction. I don't remember. East, west, one of those. East or west, I think.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
He's a dragon of something.
Yeah. He's awesome. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, he's like the epitome. I mean, like when we were like, oh, mentors, he's like one of the first names that just came out of our mouths. Just because like I think he's comparable to Splinter, in the feeling that like he guides like many people, and he always feels like he's like never really shocked or surprised, or like he always has like the solution, like sort of tucked away, but like he doesn't. He wants to see the growth. He wants people to find their own paths.
Yes. I think that's so what makes him so impactful as a character too. Maybe straying a little bit away from him being a mentor, but like when Zuko chooses the wrong option, you can see Uncle Iroh like wincing. Like he knows that like, oh, that's the wrong thing.
But he's always there.
But he's always there. Yeah,
Yeah.
Even when Zuko chooses the wrong option, Uncle Iroh is still there. He's still following him, still there as a safety net. Because like you said, he wants to impart wisdom, but he also wants to make sure that people are learning by making those mistakes. If we can't fall and we can't, pick ourselves up, I feel like we're not learning as much. Kind of similar to Alfred in that sense. He's the safety net for Zuko in the fact that like he wants Zuko to learn for himself, to impart some of the words that Uncle Iroh is saying to him, but also to understand that he can make those mistakes, and he's afforded to make those mistakes because Uncle Iroh is there to catch him, to help him back
Well,
up.
not only that, but he has lived through those mistakes.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I think that that's also important. You know, as you, and once again, going back to Alfred, there's a backstory there,
Yeah.
you know, that in order for these characters to be meaningful, they can't be pure.
Yeah.
Right? They have
Yeah.
to have
Yeah.
that fault, that part of them that where they've had to learn in that journey also.
Absolutely.
And Uncle Iroh is no saint.
Yeah.
You know, complicit in the Fire Lord's war. Was a general, killed a lot of people, but also, you know, having lost his son, he really does become that character that has that kind of darker past, that riddled, jaded past that has really helped him make his decisions. And like I said, kind of that redemption arc that he has through the show.
Yeah, it's sort of the idea that after his son dies, he's like, what is all this pedigree?
Yeah, what is this for?
What is all of this like prestige that I'm getting? Like I get all these titles, I get all this land. I'm still losing my family. You know, and I think when he realizes that, he looks at his family different, and I think he sees Zuko differently, and I think he's such a great character. He's
Well, no,
such a great character.
He is such a great foil to be parallel to the story.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I always see is that although we're watching Aang and his journey, this parallel path that he's taking is really important to enhance Aang's journey.
He's the stop and smell the roses character.
Yeah.
Like,
Carpe Diem?
yeah. Again, back to Carpe Diem, right? But no, for real, he just wants to like drink tea and play. Was it White Lotus?
No, he plays the White Lotus.
Yeah. Oh, what does he play? Whatever the board game that they play. He just wants to play a board game, drink some tea, talk, swap stories, and like Zuko's like, I must find the avatar.
Pie show.
Pie show. Yeah, you're right.
Pie show. That's what it is.
Yeah. All right. I guess we'll go with
Yeah, so-
Dad next.
All right, so for me, as a person that graduated in the 80s, I
Yeah.
know that was a long time
Graduated.
ago.
Graduated.
Say
in the-
graduated?
Graduated high school in the 80s.
High school. I thought you were going to say college.
No, I didn't graduate college until the 1999.
Dating
I was a
real
slow
quick.
learner. But anyways, one of the great stories was Karate Kid, and taking nothing from Jackie Chan in the remake,
Yeah. What?
but Pat Morita as Miyagi was just remarkable.
We do love Jackie Chan in this household. I just want to throw
Yeah,
that
I
out
mean,
here, but
if there's a movie with Jackie Chan or Bruce Willis, we're all sitting down and watching.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
But
It's just that movie specifically was a little unfortunate.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just think because for you guys, you didn't know this, but there was a series in the 70s called Happy Days, and Pat Morita was in that as the cook, as in a greasy spoon,
Okay.
and it was this greasy spoon in Milwaukee,
Let's go.
and it was like Ron Howard, the Fonz, all that's what Happy Days was, and the cook was Pat Morita. So you have this character that's been a supporting character. You know, whenever they need a Japanese character, he was the one that you would get, right? There's characters throughout the 60s and 70s that played a majority of the Asian characters,
Right.
right? And so when you saw him in that role, it was a very different role because he was in a car hop as the cook in Happy Days. The next role that comes out is this role where he's this karate expert. And
Yeah.
so it was such a different role. Now, I've seen interviews with him where he said, I was sore every day and I had to learn so much stuff. But he pulled it off in such a way where you could believe that this older guy. And then he also showed something that a lot of Americans don't want to talk about. He was of Japanese descent, and he was fighting on the American side against the Japanese. So it's here's this war hero but he doesn't get credit for it because during World War II, there was an internship. So there was this conflict with him and how he related to it and how he was going to be a mentor because he left everything behind in Japan. And so I think that story really resonated with me because it was an immigrant story. It was him being lost and being able to find himself by mentoring. Ralph Macchio.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I'll take your word for it.
I'm terrible with names.
I'll just support you and encourage you. That's
Ralph something.
Yeah,
Because,
we're all bad at names.
good old Ralph.
But anyway, so I think that that story just resonated with me because it was just such once again, it's a redemption story, not just for the kid who was being bullied, because the antagonist in this was this white guy from Vietnam that was just sadistic in how he did his training and whatever. And so it was really that kind of redemption story where, they didn't know Pat Miyagi's backstory about being a war hero.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those things that really touched me, and I just thought it was an incredible story. And it was one of those parent mentoring ones because once again, Ralph, whatever his name is, was from a single mom household, and so he did not have that male figure. And so he went to the Cobra Kai to find that male figure, but that was a sadistic and mean male figure, and Pat Morita was definitely not that.
Yeah. Also, like a lot more like war undertones than I kind of thought about.
I need to rewatch that movie.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Well, he has, I think it's a Medal of Honor he has in his chest.
Yeah, and it's not something we talk about a lot, but like the Japanese internment camps that America had during World War II, definitely something to.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
All right, we're kind of.
I'm not in the state to talk about this, but
Get a few more drinks. We'll talk.
I can't believe
did
you
you
already
like this one?
finished yours.
It's my go-to.
Wow, you didn't finish any of the other ones, but that one's already gone. I'm halfway through this one.
I'm refreshed.
Yeah. I'm feeling refreshed.
But no, Mr. Miyagi, I think is so great. Just 'cause I think you two picked like very iconic, like super iconic, and like they're ingrained. Whenever you think of a mentor in media, I think those two are like they're like really high up on the list.
Yeah.
And I think for good reason. I think they're such strong characters, not exclusively for the impact they made, but for like the like nuances that they impart and share with like. It's ironically like the smallest moments that really have the biggest impact, right? Like Iroh sharing tea.
Yeah.
That's what you think of him, right? You don't think of his like crazy feats. You think of him sitting down and either playing Paisho or drinking tea with you. And then for Mr. Miyagi, you don't think of like all the grueling work of karate. You think of the wax on, wax off, right? Like these like seemingly like menial tasks, but these mentors show wisdom and like guidance with these like very mundane opportunities.
I think overall, if you've looked at all three of the people, all three episodes that we've done, one of the things that we as a group, because we're all related,
Of course
we are,
is that we don't like the two-dimensional characters.
Yeah.
We want there to be nuance. We want there to be quirkiness to it. We want it to be a joy to see, a joy to look at, because we want the characters that we follow or pay attention to be something that's enjoyable and really unique and different.
Yeah.
All right, your turn.
Yeah, I was about to say, speaking of unique and different, Nick, what are you ending us on?
So I'm doing one that, boom, blindsides.
Oh, gosh.
Okay.
Oh, no.
So I felt a little sad not talking about an anime villain.
Okay.
So I feel like I have to do two anime characters to really cement myself that I know anime.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. So I'm doing the epitome of someone you look up to.
Oh gosh.
Neither of you have seen it.
Okay,
It is
good.
a char-
I thought you were gonna go with like something classic from anime, like Master Roshi, and like there's a lot that we can talk about and discuss.
I like those characters for a lot what they are, but there's one character from a little anime called Gurren Lagann.
Oh yeah.
And the character that I'm talking about is a character named Kamina. And he is this big brother figure, which I think is a dynamic that we haven't really engaged
Right.
on
Yeah, that's
of
true.
all of them. Kamina takes the role of a big brother and a guide for the main character, Simone. So Kamina is this arrogant, unstoppable fire. He is always doing things with gusto. He is never looking back. He's the character that basically ignites the whole story. He's the one who takes charge and is looking for the future 100 years ahead. He is someone that is like an inspiration to everyone around him. And I think he is a mentor because he looks at the main character and goes, "You're coming with me because you are better than me. You just don't know it yet." And I think he's this character that has so much energy. He has this he always says a quote before he like does anything.
Oh gosh.
Whenever people are like, "You can't do that. You can't beat me." And he just goes, You think I can't beat you? Who the hell do you think I am?"
No.
And he does stuff. He always succeeds. He's like, he keeps on winning, and you just can't help but love him because he's so stupidly arrogant and like stupidly positive on so many courses. Gurren Lagann, basically, humanity is Earth has died. The entire surface of the world is gone. It's a desert. And so humanity has retreated underground, trying to find the last scrapes of water. So like the main workforce is miners and diggers. So the main character has like a drill. And he keeps drilling. That's all he does.
I've seen clips of Gurren Lagann, but I've never seen the show itself. So.
Yeah. And so Kamina's like idea is like, we're retaking Earth. We are going to reclaim this land. We're gonna make it thrive. And he's such a strong figure that he's like left so many ripples on every single character that he's interacted with. And he's such a fire. He is a burning spirit. And there is a point where Simone, the main character, has to pick up the torch that has been left to him. And all he's like, I can't do it. I can never be like him. But it's this moment where he just starts trying to act like Kamina, and that's enough. Like he does everything.
This foreshadows what happens to Kamina.
Listen. Not to
We're
spoil.
picking up on what you're putting down.
It's been out for a while. Spoilers. Kamina does pass away in a very, very tragic scene. That's very emotional. Really badass. But
I feel like it's like popular. Like I feel like I've seen clips of it.
oh yeah. But Kamina, he's this unshakable fire, but it's like the brightest stars burn the fastest. And I think opposed to your characters, or honestly all of our characters, it's like the finality of this mentor really like drives it home a little bit stronger, where you're like, he's gone and you're like, we're like, he's like left a void from this fire that he's left. And really, he's such a great character. Yeah, that's my number one. My number one.
I think it goes back to like that safety net or that like guiding light that these mentors provide, where when they're gone, you're like, what's next? Even if these mentors have been preparing you in their own way of like pushing your own path, like trailblazing your own path forward. A lot of times when that like light goes out, you're like, oh no, what do I do? When in reality, you have those tools, or that main character has those tools to keep going forward. They
Well, it's
just
like you
didn't
said,
realize it.
The mentor said, I know you're better than me.
Yeah.
You know, I think that is the mentor. I mean, my mentors, if you look at them, they always go, yeah, that guy's better than me. You know, that person's going to do something greater than whatever I did.
And I feel like that's really relevant to real life, because a lot of times when Nick and I work at a summer camp, when we work at the summer camp, a lot of times I have so much hope for the future, because working with these kids, I'm like, dude, these kids are awesome.
They get it.
They get it. They are incredible. They're so strong. They are, in a way, like better than me. They just don't know it yet, and they don't know how to use that power yet.
I joke about it with when I went to chemical engineering school after I got out of the Navy. So here I am, 30 years old, going to UVA, University of Virginia, chemical engineering school. And I say the kids around me because they started kindergarten the year that I graduated high school.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No,
So,
that's accurate.
And so you look at this and you think, you know, these kids are just so much smarter than me and whatever. And you guys have heard the story, is that at the end of it, I got an award for the person that least needed to be there. And because whenever they were stuck, because I had no practical experience, I would just say, turn this valve this way, you know, raise this temperature this way. And I think that I looked around that class and said, I'm the dumbest person in this class. You know, there's no doubt. And these I say kids, but these young adults are just so much smarter and more capable than me. And you just realize that. And the best thing that you can do is just say, go free, go do it, go be great. You know, because that's what they need to do. You know.
Well, I'm so excited by the youth.
This might have been my favorite episode at this point.
I agree.
It was also the hardest one.
Yeah.
It took me a while.
Yeah.
I was looking through a lot. There were a lot of honorable mentions that I was just kind of looking through. And like, I knew Uncle Ira was going to be on the list, but I didn't really know who else was going to be on the list. But overall, very fun episode. Gin, not my favorite drink, but I really did enjoy a lot of these drinks.
At this point, it's sort of stained my mouth.
Yeah. I can't get gin out of my mouth. I'm just tasting juniper berries.
I wouldn't recommend 3 gin drinks in a row.
But thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
We'll also say that hopefully this time there will be a video.
Oh
You
my
could
gosh.
see our beautiful faces for
Maybe.
the first time.
We'll also do the please subscribe,
Right.
do the bell,
Do all that great stuff.
You know
like
what
it,
it is.
You know what it is.
We appreciate
But
you.
we do appreciate you guys watching us.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
All right.
Great job.
Yep.
On to the next.
Peace. Yep.
Team, I'm a little intoxicated.
Yeah.